Is a mall still a mall if there aren't any shoppers? It's not a moot point. America is full of dying shopping centers with ever fewer customers. Welcome to the Zombie Mall. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English for Thursday, March 14th, 2024. Here at Plain English, we help you upgrade your skills in English with stories about current events and trending topics. And in every episode, we show you how to use an English expression. Today, the story is a continuation of Monday's story about the mall. On Monday, you learned that trends are shifting away from indoor shopping malls, the kind that were so popular in the 1980s and 1990s. And today, you'll learn about something called a zombie mall. That's a mall that's dying, but not quite dead yet. In the second half of today's lesson, you'll learn how to use the English expression put off. This is lesson number 657. That means JR, our producer, has uploaded the full lesson content to plainenglish.com/657, and that includes the free transcript. So if you want to read along as you listen, that's the place to do it. plainenglish.com/657. Let's get going. In pop culture, malls are buzzing with activity, the backdrop to social drama and comfortable suburban life. But that's not the full story, at least not anymore. A lot of malls in the United States are in a zombie phase, a phase where they're not quite dead, but not fully alive either. Remember what we talked about on Monday. 1, America has too many malls. And 2, consumer preferences have shifted away from this type of shopping. Put these two factors together and you can see the problem. The number of shoppers simply doesn't justify the amount of space that has been built. So that means some malls are out of luck. These are the malls that are in less wealthy areas, the malls that are older, the malls that can't compete with newer properties nearby, or the malls that are just too far from the local population. These are the malls that are at risk of entering the zombie phase. Here's how a mall goes from being a thriving shopping center into a zombie mall. It all starts with fewer shoppers and less sales. Retailers pay rent to malls based on the sales they generate in the store. If there are fewer shoppers, if sales start to fall, then retailers have two options. They can close the store, or they can negotiate their rent downward. Either way, it's bad for the mall owner. When stores close and vacancies rise, mall owners scramble to fill the empty space with other tenants. But all the typical mall tenants face the same economics. So when stores close, it's not easy to replace them with a similar store. So mall owners often turn to other types of tenants that you might not associate with an indoor mall. They try to recruit movie theaters, grocery stores, and gyms, hoping they'll attract more shoppers to the mall. If that doesn't work, They might convert some space into call centers, offices for nonprofits, government offices, or schools. But those tenants can't afford the high rents of the past. So think about this. Mall owners make less rent from their space, but they still have to pay their fixed costs: electricity, heat, security, taxes, and insurance. So what can they do? They cut costs where they can. They don't invest as much in marketing. They put off indoor maintenance projects. They don't resurface the parking lot as much as they once did. They cut cleaning expenses. They may reduce opening hours. The retailers who remain look at this and think, we're not getting the same value for our rent as we used to. So they negotiate discounts on their rents, furthering the downward spiral of the mall's finances. For many mall owners, the answer is to default on their loans. That means they stop paying their mortgages and they turn the property over to their lenders. Lenders then quickly sell the properties at a steep discount to other investors who specialize in owning struggling malls. Now from there, the cycle continues. The zombie malls have new owners, and those owners bought the asset cheap. They bought it cheap, and they run it cheap. They cut costs and manage the mall's decline, hoping to make enough of a profit before the mall has to close for good. For shoppers, it's depressing. The parking lot is full of potholes. There might be leaks or bad smells inside. Entire wings are dark, with only empty storefronts and for rent signs. The corridors, once buzzing with activity, are eerily quiet. The food court is a ghost town. The whole place looks like it needs a good deep cleaning. Yes, it's still open. Yes, you can go in and wander around. Yes, there are a few stores still open. But going to a zombie mall is an empty, depressing experience. If this were any business other than real estate, the business would shut down forever. But a mall is a big place, and it can't easily be repurposed into something else. Owners can't snap their fingers and make it an office park, a school, warehouses, or apartments. To do that requires more investment for an uncertain return. Just tearing the building down can cost many millions of dollars. So the investor owners hold on to these zombie malls and try to squeeze some value out of them while they still can. The properties are dying a long, slow, painful, embarrassing death. But for the owners, owning a zombie mall is still better than any alternative. While they're dying, the malls are still profitable for the owners who bought them at a steep discount. These malls are a problem for the towns and cities where they're located. Local governments fund schools and local services through property taxes. Property tax is based on the value of the property. As malls' values slowly or quickly fall, the local property tax revenue also falls, squeezing budgets for schools and other services. Local governments can't do much to reverse the decline. They can't force an owner to tear down a mall and build something else. One city manager said she wishes a large sinkhole would open up and swallow the mall at night, allowing them to build something else on that site. What comes next? About 150 large enclosed malls have closed since 2008, leaving about 950 in the US. Green Street, a data provider, estimates that a third of them will close in the next 15 to 20 years. If you go to the transcript and find a section called Dig Deeper, you'll see a link to a video that takes you through a zombie mall. It's a really good video. They walk through the mall and you can see what it was like once upon a time and see just how empty and depressing it is today. You can see the directory with almost every store name blanked out. A fire alarm is going off and nobody seems to notice. The escalators aren't moving. The fountain is dry. There's trash and graffiti everywhere. It's depressing. Anyway, watch that video, see what these look like, plainenglish.com/657, and find the section called Dig Deeper. Put off. We use put off when we delay or postpone something that we know we have to do. And usually, when you put something off, it's because you don't want to do it. It's good for you, but you don't want to do it. There's an element of procrastination in here. It's something you should do. It's something you should do now. But if you put it off, you delay it until another time. Students are the kings and queens of putting things off. I like to plan ahead now. JR knows that. But when I was in college, I would always put off studying until the week or a few days before the test. Sometimes the professors would give us an assignment a month, 6 weeks before it was due. But what did we all do? Without fail, we put it off until the last minute. To put something off until the last minute is to delay it until you can't delay it anymore. Here's a great example. When I lived in Chicago for the second time, I had a back porch, and the back porch door was never perfect. The solid door closed and locked, but the screen door didn't close properly. And I knew when I bought that apartment, I knew that eventually I'd want to fix that door. But I put it off. The time was never right to spend my money on repairing a screen door. It worked fine, but it just didn't close properly. Every time I go in and out of that door, every day during the summer, every few days during the winter, I'd think, I really need to get this door fixed. And every time I thought, yes, but there are other priorities in my life right now. I put it off for years. I did finally get it fixed. I think the year I moved out, I lived there for 6 years. I put off fixing the door for 5 out of the 6 years I lived there. If I had just done it at the beginning, it would have cost less, and I would have enjoyed a functioning door for much longer. But that's what happens when you put things off. Malls are struggling these days. If you own a shopping mall and the tenants aren't paying much rent, or there's a lot of vacant space, what can you do to save money? Number one thing, you can put off maintenance. Just don't repair the parking lot. Don't repair the fountain. Don't replace lights that are burned out. That's how a mall can become a zombie mall where nobody wants to be. Health. This is another area where people put things off. If something's wrong, the best thing is to address it and not wait. If you have pain, discomfort, whatever, see a doctor if you can. And I don't mean consult with Dr. Google. But so many of us have creeping concerns, a little pain here, some discomfort there. It's not an emergency. We can always put it off until tomorrow, and then again until the next day and the day after. But just like with home repairs or work or studying, with your health, it's not a good idea to put things off or delay them. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Let's say you called a meeting at work to discuss the results of a project. But if the project isn't done yet, there's no point in having the meeting. So you can put the meeting off until you have the results of the project to talk about. And that's another way you can use put off. Put something off until a time that you can do it. You can put a meeting off until the materials are ready. You can put a doctor's visit off until your new insurance coverage kicks in. You can put a school paper off until the night before it's due. How did we not do put off until now? It's really common. I've probably said it 100 times. But for whatever reason, I just never selected it as the expression. I wasn't putting it off, I swear. Anyway, you might be listening to this and thinking, I really shouldn't put off upgrading my English any longer. And if that's you, then this is a great time to join Plain English Plus. Now, sometimes when we put things off, we're afraid of how much work something will be or how unpleasant it is. But with Plain English Plus, you can do a lot of work if you want to, but you don't have to. There are lots of small ways you can upgrade your skills in listening, vocabulary, and writing without a huge time commitment. So if you've been putting it off, now's the time to come join us, plainenglish.com/plus, P-L-U-S. plainenglish.com/plus has all the details. We'll be back on Monday with a new episode. See you then.